Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into this edition of Bull Ring Breakdown. Once again, skipping the Monday evening race recap, because it seems like it rains every day today, and I guess if it's not raining, it's going to be 100 degrees out because that's about what it was today. So no race recap, but I do want to remind everybody that $1 hot dog night is going to be this coming Saturday. So I know, Greg, I saw your face there. I'll get to that in a minute, but $1 hot dog night is this Saturday, Armed Forces night as well. So we are gonna support our troops, and so with $1 hot dog night too, you can't beat that. I want to remind everybody to like, subscribe, rate 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. I am joined this week for the interview portion with the InSinger Performance Modified driver, Gregg Turner. Big Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. It's a little warm for me today. Are you kind of feeling the same?
Yeah, it's hot. No rain.
You know, I find it funny because I complained for what feels like 2 months straight now about how it's been cold and raining, and now it's not raining and cold. Now I'm complaining it's hot.
Yeah, it's too hot.
It is. I think the humidity is the thing that gets me.
Yeah, for sure.
So I gotta ask you, I want to start this thing off. Usually I start this off by this question. So how'd you kind of get your start in racing?
Well, my story's pretty funny. I was 13 years old. I'm a third generation driver. My dad raced. My oldest brother raced. We were down to Dunhill, 20 minutes from here. My brother was working on the car and got underneath the car. Someone pulled the jack out. The car fell on him. I was 13 years old at the time. And back then, the points went to the car, not the driver. And my brother always drove for points every year. And my dad's like, Greg, you're driving. And I was like, what? And my brother Pete, he's only 5'7". And I was like, Dad, I don't fit in that. He goes, well, you're going to fit in it tonight. I said, I don't know how to drive standard. Well, you're going to learn tonight, he says. And I was like, all right. They took my brother off to the hospital. My mom, a couple of crew guys, they went with my brother and they left me and Dad there. So, yeah, I went out in the heat race. I didn't know how to shift. Like, we only run standard transmission, but we always ran second gear. And I stalled. And heat race was, I believe it was 8 laps. And I believe I was 6 laps down in a heat race. And I come in and Dad's like, man, Greg, you did fine, blah, blah. And I'm like, Dad, I don't know what I'm doing. So anyways, that's how I got started. And so I raced that night. I raced the feature that night. 14 cars. I ended up 12. 2 cars wrecked. And I didn't pass anybody, but I passed a lot. But I was 13. I was young. And then after that, that was my first race. Then after that, we built the car for me. I started off in the mini stocks, and ran a lot of races. As soon as I got okay, we bought a car from Petrobowski's, Jeremy Petrobowski, the late Jim Petrobowski, Jeremy's father. I bought a good car from him. I ended up winning 52 races in 3 years, a couple big races, and that's how I got started. It was fun. It's been in my blood my whole life. I've been in the garage since the day I was born, I guess, because my dad raced for years, and
So
yeah, that's how I got started.
so what happened with your brother? Did he end up being okay, or because that's got to
Yeah,
be pretty scary?
he was underneath the car. What happened was he broke an axle in the old 8.5 rear, and he was underneath the car, and somebody needed the jack, and they pulled the jack out, and the car fell on him. It crushed him pretty bad. So he had to go to the hospital, and he ended up being all right. He just had a crushed vertebrae or something. Dude, we're talking 33 years ago.
Right. Well, he's still with
He'll
us,
see
so
this, and then yeah, he'll see this, and then he'll tell me what happened.
right. Yeah. Well, I'm sure he sure doesn't forget.
And but then after that, he was done. He had like 2 more years he raced, and then he was done. And yeah, then it was just me.
So what your first car, your brother's car, what kind of car was that? Uh was that like a sportsman or
Ford Mustang mini stock.
mini stock? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then
Yeah,
what made you hop in a because I believe you kind of what made you go up to the modifieds, I guess. I know you raced
I
sportsman for a while, but
yeah I ran 4 cylinders for years. Then I wanted to run street stock. I ran a lot of street stock races. We had a couple street stocks, and I was like, I want to try open wheeling. So we found a crate car, ran a crate car a couple years. I actually was a track champ at 5 Mile Point in 2014, crate champ. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, this ain't no fun no more. I want to be a little bit more, like, I want to go out and, like, do something different. So he's like, well, let's go modified racing. And I asked him, I said, you feeling all right? I said, we can't do that. He's like, yeah, we can, Greg. Well, he calls me Gregory when it comes to racing. It's Gregory. So don't ever call me that either.
I was gonna
So,
say, is he the only
anyways,
one that can get away with that?
yeah, he is. Yeah, he calls me Gregory. And when he says Gregory, he means business. When it's Greg, it's okay. But when it's Gregory, yeah, you tend to listen. And so anyway, so we got, I sold my crate card and we got a modified. We knew it was going to be tough. You know, the modified class isn't easy. I mean, I'm in my shop right now. It's just me. I mean, that's pretty much how it is. You know, I do. I had a hell of a team. I had a good crew when I first, when I ran crate races. I had, 4 or 5 steady guys that helped me a lot. And then they all got married, had kids, had wives. You know what I mean? And they just couldn't do it anymore. So left it down to me and my dad. My dad started getting up there in age. I still got a couple good buddies that help me out a ton. But the modified thing, it's fun. I'm telling you right now, I will never drive another race car. Yeah, I suck, but it's fun. Like, you
So
know,
you've never had any ambition to ever go back down to a street stock or anything like that?
not one bit, not one
No.
bit. You are never gonna race anything if you're a driver. I drove everything, like a modified is Woodhall. Woodhall is a tough track. I don't really shine at Woodhall. I finished a top 10. I'm tickled pink. My best finish at Woodhall, I think, is fifth. 2 years ago when I ran, but 2 years ago I ran every week. I was committed there. Then last year, my parents had a rough year, and my family's number one to me. And then racing, so I missed a lot of races. I raced 2 or 3 times last year. This year we've raced twice because of rainouts. And Woodhall, you got to race. I feel you got to race Woodhall weekly to be good. I mean, I'm not in the way. I'm not horrible, but to me myself, I think I could be a lot more better if I would go to a flatter track. You know what I mean? Something that's not so hard. Billy Van Pelt said it best. He said, Turner, he goes, you keep coming, you go, and you'll be all right. He told me that one time, and he said, I've won a lot of races here, a lot of championships. He says, anywhere else, he goes, I struggle. So, I really, people are great. There's not too many bad apples. You know what I mean? It's just, and why I chose Woodhall to race on Saturdays.
How far of a drive is it from you?
It's about an hour and 20 minutes
Okay.
all in.
Is
Yeah,
there
it's not
places close?
horrible.
Is there places closer down by you? Is Penn Can maybe a little closer to you or
I know Penn Can's an hour and 20 minutes as well.
okay.
Then Thunder Mountain's about 45 minutes.
Okay.
Afton's about an hour.
So you got a little
But
bit of a
like I
haul
said,
no matter where you pick.
yeah, I live like Chemung Speedrome's literally 7 miles from my house.
Okay.
So that's the closest. But Dunhill, they don't run the mods. They tried to crate racing down there. I went down there and ran a crate car a couple times, but that didn't excite me. But I like I said, I chose Woodhall. I just like Woodhall. The tire wear, no tire wear. The years that I've ran full seasons. And the tires in the mods, the tires are a big thing. And when we're competing at this level, new tires go along with. But at
Right.
Woodhall, it's not really tires.
And I
You know,
always said too that Woodhull, I feel like I'm not a racer and I don't really actually know this, but I've heard from people that, Woodhull kind of levels the playing ground. You don't need, you could go out there and do well and not have I mean, you obviously have a ton of money into it, but you don't need top of the line equipment to go out there and, have fun.
absolutely not, absolutely not. And I think Woodhall, like I was kind of like down that Woodhall did away with the handicap system this year because I always start up front when the handicap gets going, because I don't miss weeks, and that's how I had some good finishes 2 years ago when I ran weekly there. I started up front, and if you hold your line, you can ask any of my competitors against. I'm pretty easy. I hold my line. You know what I mean? I'm not all over the place, and so if I get in a good little groove, you know what I mean? I'm pretty good.
Right. I've always said as a fan, just kind of watching that always seems to be the thing that a lot of drivers appreciate the most is if you could just stay where you are.
Of course,
You know,
100%.
they don't mind you out there trying if you're a little slower as long as you can just stay out of their way and they know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when I'm even laughing people. So yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean some people just go top bottom all over the place and I mean as a if you're the race leader and you come around to that, it's
It's
got to be a
hard.
little bit of a scary situation.
Yeah, that gets talked upon a lot.
Right.
But like I said, not one time ever has anybody ever come to me and said I was a problem. I don't
Right.
know if it's because I'm big and mean looking or something. Everybody always respect. I respect everybody. Everybody respects me. I have zero issues with any competitor would raceway. I'll, you know what I mean. Everyone will help me. I help them. I just,
Hold on.
it's just, I like it. Oh, what happened to your voice? I don't know.
Well, I think we got you back here, Greg. So I guess we can continue with this. Sorry about that. That's actually the first time this has ever happened, but it was bound to happen at least once.
That's all right. It happens. Technology.
Right. Um, so I gotta ask you, you're a big guy. I'm a big guy, but not as tall. Is it tough for you to get in and out of the modifieds?
No, it's not. It's I mean, I got a seat fitted for me. It's and I tell you, once you're in there, it's so comfortable. I don't even want to get out. Sometimes I'll go out in hot laps and I'll come in and I'll just sit in my car till the heat race. It's just so comfortable. I mean, getting in, getting out. Yeah, I mean, if you've never done it before, it takes a minute. But nah, I'm I may be 340 pounds of meat, but I can get in and out.
Well, right. Well, you got it, right? You got it to have fun.
Yeah, the worst thing about it is I wear a size 17 sneaker and my race shoes are only 15s. That's the hardest because my feet are so big. I got to wear a smaller driver shoe for the gas pedal that your foot sits in. That my toes hurt at the end of a Saturday night.
Well, how come you can't have bigger shoes?
Well, I can't get bigger race shoes because they don't fit in the like on these modifieds. They got like a C cup where your foot slides in, but mine's so big it's only my toes fit in there.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah. Someday when you're in the pit, stop on down and I'll show you.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's something that
So I
I
wear a
I
size
never
15.
I never knew that. I never knew that they had a cover. I thought you just kind of sat in there and pushed the pedals.
Yeah, now they have like I think it's so in case your throttle sticks, you can pull up on it. I think that's what it is. It's like your foot slides into like it's like it's a flat pedal, but it's got like a bracket that comes over to hold your foot in there.
Right. So I think
And
I think you told me before that you won a what's that? Uh-oh,
I
never
can't get in
mind.
there like with my sneakers.
Right. So I think you told me
Did you
before.
lose me?
No, I still got you. You're a little spotty, but we're doing all right. We're gonna keep on powering through. Um, you told
I'm
me
a,
before, I think you won a crate championship, right? At Woodhall?
yes, sir.
Yep.
No,
No,
5 mile
just
point.
5 Mile Point. That's right. Now, do you ever see yourself? And I told you I was going to call you this because I like to pick on you, and I think me and you message just about every week. So, do you ever see yourself actually running a full season, or because you're kind of a fair weather racer, you know?
Listen, dude. I race full season. I will be at Woodhall every week they race. I don't miss weeks. Last year, I missed quite a bit because of my parents. They were
Sure.
sick. They both had rough summers. But when I race, I'm committed for the season. So
Really?
don't give me that.
Really? Because I thought, if it's muddy or if it's cold.
Wait. Before you get too far, there's a reason for that. All right. So listen. Let me tell you my spot. When it's 40 degrees, 50 degrees, rainy, disgusting out, Woodhall's not a fun place. We all know it. Okay. I got an 81-year-old father that I take with me. Has got dementia. He's sick. And when it's 70 degrees, he's cold, you know.
Right.
But I cannot go to a race without my dad. You know,
Hmm.
he's the number one person in my life. He's my everything, And when it's cold, I mean, every week at Woodhall this year has been cold at night.
It
So
has.
I have to have somebody drive over, take dad home, after my race or something. So that's why. But Woodhall's phenomenal at canceling on crappy days.
Hmm.
If they get you there, they're gonna race. And that's what I love about Woodhall. 99% of the time, if you're there, you're racing.
Right.
If they see chance of rain, if they see nasty weather, cold, they're not even gonna chance it. And that's why I'm always ragging on you because there's so much on my plate come race day, to get my dad and get everything around and have a backup plan for dad and I mean, I got a heater in my trailer and stuff, but just at 81 years old, it's just not fun. And I
Well,
really hope football never makes decisions on my point of view. But I mean, but listen, if it's a race day, we're racing. I'm there.
I'll tell you one thing, Greg. Usually, 95% of the time, we got room in the booth, and it stays pretty warm in there. So if you ever want to bring your dad over to the grandstands, he can sit in the booth and watch with us. I'd have no
I
problem with
appreciate.
that if you wanted. If it was on a chilly night, hopefully we're done with them. You
I
know,
hope so. Yeah.
I have you ever remember? You're a little bit older than me. Have you ever remember a summer like this where it just seems like it's nonstop rain through the entire
No,
state?
no, I haven't, and it rains every day. I did. I was just telling my son racer yesterday. Yesterday was the first day in like 30 some days that I didn't have a raindrop on my windshield at some part of the day, and that was crazy, dude. It was crazy.
It is, and I got to give I'll give credit where it's due. So Steve Ovens on the Land of Legends Raceway page, he put on there, and Canandaigua isn't that far from where I live, so it can't be that different, you know. And he put
Right.
on there that it was the first weekend, or they haven't had a weekend without a threat of rain on Saturday or Sunday since November. I
Yeah.
mean that's,
Nuts.
I mean that's crazy.
That's nuts. That's
When
nuts.
you talk about canceling, I'll tell you another thing. Is there because this week and the week before, I know that you said that about canceling and all that, but we got hammered with people that said we shouldn't have canceled and all this and all that. So I'm glad at least you're on board.
Yeah, I'm on board. But like I said, dude, don't. I mean, I've been there. I've been there when it rains for 2, 3 hours and we still raced.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know, once we're there, we're racing, and that's if Woodhall's not racing, they're canceling early. But if you're getting to the track, you're racing. That's the way
yeah.
they see it. That's their point of view. And I mean, some agree, some don't. But also with 40, 50-degree weather, wind, cold, you're not going to get nobody in the stands. And our biggest thing is we need fans in the stands, dude. Every racetrack does.
Hmm.
And you're gonna have your real race car fans. You're gonna have all the Morrismans. They're my buddies, so I can say that. You're gonna have all the Morrismans. You're gonna have all the Kenny peoples. You're gonna have them people. But there's little teams like me. That 4, 5, 10 of my fans that come from the valley. They're not gonna come out there and sit in 40, 50-degree, windy, rainy nights. You know what I mean?
I do, and I think that this is, and I really hate to say it, I'm fairly young, but I kind of look around the racetracks nowadays, and I don't see the young people like I used to. And I think that if most of your crowd
Right.
are going to be that older group, you kind of got to think with that in mind too. Like you said, if you're 60, 70 years old, sitting out in the rain and the cold isn't really a whole lot of fun.
No, no. I mean, it's fun for us racers. Listen, it can be 30 degrees, and inside that modified, I sweat so bad, man. Like, the first thing I do is when I get out of that car, I get out of my fire suit and I go to my truck and I change my boxers. First thing I do every week because there's just soak and it's all the heat just sits around you, you know? So,
So
and
how do
these
you,
people are looking, go ahead.
so what's your preparation then? Like, dead of August, it's 95 degrees out. What's kind of your preparation there? You just drinking a lot of water?
Yeah, yeah. I always drink a lot of water. And I bought a fan this year that's got a sprinkler system to it. We're going to set that up and it's just going to blow water on me constantly when it's hot.
That might be the best thing I've ever heard.
Right. That's the best. I bought it at a rummage sale, $30, dude. Best $30 I've ever spent. Haven't used it yet, but
Well, hopefully you do because I think and this goes back to the rainout thing too. Everybody complains when the racetracks cancel, but I can tell you that we don't want to cancel just as much as they don't want us to cancel, you know.
I,
So
I agree.
I'm hoping that from here on out, hopefully we get better weather. And I think looking kind of a week out, I haven't looked at it really recently, but that Saturday looks okay as long as you don't get hammered in the morning,
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
I'm
I'm on,
seeing. But
but you're on three different weather apps and all three say something different. And that's the problem. So
right.
I'm telling Racer, dude, when you get out of high school, you're going to college to be a meteorologist. So we need a meteorologist in our family. We ain't got one yet.
Well, how come you didn't do that?
Nah, I went to school to be a cop. That was enough for me.
Is that what you do now? Are you a cop or?
No, no, I was a probation officer for a long time.
Okay.
Now and then that just when I went to college, I graduated from Mansfield, a criminal justice degree, and I had and worked as a juvenile probation officer for years. And it just, I don't know, man. I love kids, and I don't see the bad in them. You know what I mean? I always try blaming it on somebody else than the kid because I mean every kid's a hellion in one way or another. And so that wasn't for me. So I took a job at a Toyota dealership here in Sayre as a recon manager forever. I left there and I started my own detailing business. So I'm my own boss. But and then when my parents got sick and everything, I wanted to do something else, get out there. So now I work at a hardware and feed store as a delivery driver, Tom's Hardware, and they're a
Okay.
huge sponsor of my racing. And that's what I do now, Monday through Friday. I drive van around delivering stuff, and and then I'm still detailing cars, and we all know what my motto is, and I don't got to say that, but so but yeah, I mean, I got a really good detailing business, and yeah, I'm doing well.
So how do you find time to do all this stuff?
Well, there is only one me in this world, and like I'm go 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 every day, all day, and I'm not a last minute kind of guy. I make it work. I'm in the garage. I had brake issues both times we raced this year. I've had brake issues both times. I lost brakes, and I was in the garage. My buddy Jeremy come down. We were in the garage till 4 in the morning on a Wednesday night. We thought we had it figured out. Then my buddy Jeff Doherty come down. He was here 2 hours. We thought we had it figured out. We think we have it figured out now, but it's one of those things we won't know until we get to the track and get some heat in it and see if we fixed it or not. So there's times, I go without sleep when I need to. My family, my kid, my girlfriend, that's all number one to me. And then my race car. But I fit everything in. I coach football. I help out with basketball. I umpire baseball. I go fishing a lot. I'm always doing something, dude. But I always have time to do what I love.
Right. And now I see on your Facebook a lot that your son Racer that he's getting into that. How's that been going?
That's been going good. Same as Woodhall rainouts. We've raced twice. We raced 1 week, 2 weeks ago. We got our first race in. He did well. He finished third, nope, fourth. He was running third, spun out in the last lap. He come back, got fourth. But then last week we went up and just we got hot laps in. Just track was horrible, and they decided for the safety of the kids, we'll try again next week. So he only got one real weekend, and so he's doing great. He loves it. He's in the shop with me all the time. He wants to get better, But you got to remember, he had him at his wellness check yesterday. He's 6'1", 236 pounds at 13 years old.
I was gonna ask you how old he was because I've seen pictures of him and he does not look how old he is.
He just turned 13 last week. He's a big fella, and they're estimating him at between 6'10", and 7 foot.
So he's gonna make you look small.
Yeah, well, he's got a lot to go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
So is that something that he always liked doing with you? He was always in the shop with you and he just wanted to get into it, or did you
of
say,
course,
hey,
of
let's
course.
try it?
He drives my mod around. It's pretty easy. He would load my race car for me. He's always been in there to do that. He's with me every Saturday. Yeah, and he thinks he can drive a modified. He says he can do better than I can. So, but yeah, no, it's something he's always wanted to do. And I got him. I'm a big time bowler too. You probably know that too. I bowl a lot, and
You.
I bowl a couple tournaments, and we go out and we bowl, and he always says to me, like I yell at him when he bowls because he sucks, and he says, "Dad, if you wanted me to be a bowler, you should have named me Bowler." He goes, "I'm a race car driver. I'm a racer." So he's got a pretty good sense of humor, like I do. So it's in his blood. It's something he's gonna do for a long time too, and he's got a backing like you won't believe helping him out. He's a young kid. He got on his little scooter, went around. All these businesses got I don't know 15 sponsors, and so it's barely nothing coming out of our pocket for him to race. So and it's the support goes a long ways with him.
Right. Did was there any thought into putting him into a stock car, or did he just
Yeah,
want to go in a go-kart?
well, I thought about a crate car, maybe get a little rookie class going. But honestly, dude, there's no way I could maintain two full cars. My racing program is, I clean cars pretty much for a living, and I don't clean my mod like nowhere near like I should. Like I just get burnt out from that. cleaning it, doing everything that need the repairs weekly, the maintenance and stuff. There's just no way, just me and my one buddy, and my two cousins that help me out. There's just no way I could, you know, right now, anyways. So, and he wants to race go karts. He likes the Sunday thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Saturday, his dad's day. And Sunday's his day to race. So right now, we'll see what happens. I mean, I got a pretty new car, so you never know. A couple years, we'll see what happens.
Right. And I could imagine that that helps out a lot too, that at the racetrack, you only have to really worry about one.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I don't know how, like Donnie Lawson, for example. I don't know how that guy does it. Yeah, his kids are older. They do help a lot and stuff. But at the racetrack, I talk to him and his dad the whole time I'm there, and their minds are just, you know what I mean? They're just, this car needs this car needs that. There's three of them, you know?
Hmm.
So I just, like I said, but they're older. They know what they're doing. You know what I mean? But with me, it would be just too much right now. But I would, if my son came to me and said, Dad, nope, I don't want to do this go kart. I want to do race cars, front wheel drive, four cylinder. You know what I mean? Sportsman, anything. I'd be all right, and I'd sell all my stuff and I'd just go his route with him. That's what I would do. Because I mean, I've had fun. I've been doing this for 30. What am I? 46, 33 years. And I've done it every year for 33 straight years. I've had the same shop. I've had, you know what I mean? And I just, this is my life. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I'm in the shop building stuff, and
You race and
and it's
bowl.
and yeah, yeah. I bowl
So,
a lot, but see, I bowl in the wintertime, and I make enough
mhm.
money to race. So I must be an okay bowler.
Yeah, right. So is that kind of where you eventually see yourself going? Is that once Racer gets older and he wants to get into this, that's going to be the time that you get out and just kind of focus on
A
his
hundred
racing
percent.
deal?
And yeah, not to jump too quick, but the time's gonna come when things change in life. With my dad, my mom,
Hmm.
and yeah, they're my two biggest supporters. When that day comes, you'll see a different Gregg Turner. You know what I mean? My
Sure.
dad has been, you know, I got nine brothers and sisters, and I'm number nine out of 10. And it's me and my dad. You know what I mean? This racing thing is, my dad bought me the shop when I was 13. I guess I was 14 at the time when he bought the shop. But you know what I mean? It's just been him and I. He's gotten sick over the last, 4 years or so. He's gotten sick, so he hasn't been in the shop as much. But this has always been our thing. And when the time comes, things change. I'll see where I'm at then.
Right. So none of your other siblings, you got eight of them. None of them ever other
I
than
got,
your brother that you said raced for a while, but is he the only one that ever got
yeah,
into it?
I got nine siblings, not eight. Don't
Oh,
leave
I'm
me.
sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were nine.
If they see this, I'm in trouble. No, I'm number nine out of 10. There's one after me,
Oh, okay.
and and he's bigger than I am. So I try to respect him and be good to him because he's the big one of the family. But yeah, no, my brother Pete, he does do a little bit of racing here and there. My youngest brother Steve McGee, he raced some go karts, he raced some front wheel drives, he raced some stuff. So, but yeah, none of them do it. This is me, dude. It's me, and none of them, like all my brothers and sisters. Only a couple of them live around here. They all got families and moved away. So, like I said, it's just me and dad pretty much.
I can't imagine what your family reunions or when you all get together, what that's like if there's
Dude,
10 of you.
listen. Me and you are Facebook friends. You've seen some of the stuff I post.
I have.
That tells it all. I'm the one of the family. Out of the 10, I'm the handful. I'm the one. But like I said, none of them are, none of them have ever been arrested. None of them are felons. None of them are troublemakers. We're a tight family, very tight family. And I, I'm the crazy one, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I'm the crazy one.
You got to give your parents a little bit of credit there because I think the odds have got to be that out of 10 kids, at least one of them is going to be a giant screw up, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I am who I am is because of my parents, and I will sit here and talk this whole thing with you about my parents. I just, they without them, I'm nothing. And then when I had Racer 13 years ago, now it changed my life totally. You know, so I mean, I'm still crazy. I still do some crazy stuff every now and again, but and like I said, the racing thing has been my drug. My entire life.
So what is it like with kind of watching him race, or do you get nervous thinking that, he's kind of coming up to the age that you were, and you can remember what you were like, and does that kind of make you a little nervous?
Yeah, he's got a hell of a lot more respect than I had at that age. He's very polite. He listens. I was 13. I knew everything. And, my dad had to whoop me a couple times to let me know, you know, dad's still in charge. But with Racer, he's very polite. He's loves to learn, if you will. He'll learn. He likes to sit around, listen, and learn. And he's a lot different than I was at that age. And I think with the right head, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Like he has a huge, like I said, a huge support system. I'm the best dad in the world, easy. But my parents do a lot for him too, and he's just a great kid, and I feel he's gonna stick with it. I'm hoping to turn this everything I have over to him.
Now, how does it make you feel when you watch him race? Because this is his first year, am I correct?
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
it
He
did it?
raced uh, he raced at that Southern Tier Mike Rod Club when he was 6 or 7, and he won everything. He won every heat race, won every feature. He got 10 trophies. They have a 10 week season. He won every heat, every feature. So he's got a huge trophy case in that. He never lost. So and I was like, but he outgrew it. Them little
Mhm.
open wheel microts. The next year we were going to run again the next year, but his head stuck this far out of the bar, and we put a halo on it, and it still was too small for him. So he only got 1 year of that. And like I said, he was a track champ and he won everything. And I wanted him to do it, and then it was a couple years ago, took a couple years off, to find something. And then we went down to Carlisle and, that big go-kart flea market. And he said he's ready to do it again. And if I had the time, we could do it. So it makes me feel great that he came to me and wanted to do it again.
Right. So, does it make you nervous when he's out there? I know it's only been 1 week, but does he?
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty nervous, but you know what? Hey, I've seen like in the weeks that we've raced, the 2 weeks that we've raced, I've seen kids wreck. I've seen parents like, "Oh my God," sobbing and stuff. And I'm like, "Listen, my kid is just as bad as I am. He'll be all right. Whatever happens, you can't have no fear." But I chew my nails when he's out there because he doesn't understand the high side to the low side, and the high side's kind of marbly. But he learned that the first week there when he spun out. He knows how fast he go on the top side, and he spun out. And there's a couple barriers, you kind of like, But I tell him the same thing my dad always told me. He said, "You just go out there, give it 100%. You know what? You're gonna screw up. You're gonna make mistakes. Just learn from your mistakes." And the other thing my dad always said to me, he said, "They can beat you on that track all they want, Gregory. They'll never beat us in the pits." So that's where my attitude comes from.
Right.
So
And I think too, and I've talked to you a lot, and anybody that talks to you, it's coming over clear in this interview, but it is fun. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to go there and have fun. You're not going to be a millionaire, so as long as he has fun and learns, that's really good. And he gets to spend some good time with you, and you get to spend time with him.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people bring it up to me like, "Why do you race modifieds?" A lot of people. If I had $1 for everybody that said that, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. I'd be in Vegas because I'd be a millionaire. But it's something that I've always wanted. It's something that my dad knows that I've always wanted. You know, do we have the best of the best? No. Do we have good? We have very good stuff. We have a good car. We have a good shock package. We got a sweet motor. We have good stuff, but it all comes down to me. Like I have a
Mhm.
couple of people that are gonna drive my car over at Woodhall this year. So a couple of people are going to come over and see what they think of it, see where we can tweak and make it a little bit better for me.
Mhm.
So I've been talking to a couple of people that when they have rainouts, we don't, or whatever, vice versa. I'll take my car somewhere and I'll let someone run it. You know what I mean? Because I've never had. This is my first year on coils. I've always been on bars. Every year I've raced, I've been on bars. This is the first year on coils, and it's a lot different to me. But like I said earlier in this interview, like, dude, it is so fun. So fun. I don't care. I don't care how much money I spend. If it's fun, it's fun. If it's not cheap by no means, but if I can't afford to do it, I'm not doing it.
Well,
And I have
like you said before, if it starts to take away from the family, that's when you'll hang it up.
yes, sir, 100%. Or if I can't afford to do it, like I just won't do it. And like I said, I talked about racers backing he has. I have a boatload of sponsors that help me out as well. And I have people that will, I don't shouldn't say give me, but I have people that will do whatever. My two cousins, James and Marie, they're phenomenal. You know what I mean? They every Saturday. My girlfriend, she's there every Saturday. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
my sponsors, I mean, it's not cheap by no means, but it's fun. You can't put a price tag on fun. And I live my life to the fullest. If I were to die tomorrow, there ain't no one person that would ever say, "Well, Greg didn't live his life," or "Greg didn't do this," because everybody knows I'm all for it.
Well, that's what I've always said too, and because I'm guessing you've seen it, but I've seen the same thing about Marcus Dinkins. And I always said, you know what, that guy is out there and he's having fun, and he who cares?
Yeah,
It's supposed to be fun. It's
yeah,
fun.
it's fun for real. But I do the line there. I could go run the Super Dirt Car Series or something, once in a while and have fun. But there ain't no way in hell I'm going to every race and not qualifying and have to get put into a race and be in the way. Like he's doing what he loves. I mean, good job. But man, I'm sorry, man. There's a time when you got to be like, listen, this ain't working. And I don't know what. I don't know much about him, but man, I don't know how somebody like that can travel the Northeast the way he does. You know what I mean? He did qualify last night though, so
Yeah. I don't
you
even
know.
know if he really, I could be wrong here, but I don't really even know if he runs home track. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't. I don't think so.
I think he just runs dirt, which is kind of, I guess that's a little bizarre, but
Yeah, yeah.
more
I
power
mean, I'd
to
give
him.
if he come to Woodhall for some race, I'd give him a run. Me and him would be running together. I guarantee you that. Because if he beat me, I'd quit. I would just literally put a for sale sign on my car and sell it.
Well,
But
well,
you get
you
the
might
company.
be. I will say though that Woodhall has always been told how hard it is. I mean, even the big guys when the short track super series was there, I watched Andy Becchetti go over the top. It's
Yeah,
a hard track to figure out. So
yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
that's
So,
what I've
but yeah,
heard. Well, Greg, I think we kind of ran about a half an hour. That's kind of what I, kind of aim for. I don't want to take up your entire Wednesday evening.
that's all right.
So I guess before we get out of here, I know you were talking about a lot of people that help you out. Why don't you just tell me about them?
All right. Yeah, I gotta go in here real quick though.
I was gonna ask you,
I
you got
got
to go to the car?
no. My car's actually loaded.
Oh, ready to go, huh?
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on one second. I gotta do a cheat sheet. So can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I
No.
can.
Yeah. So like I got the Guthrie credit Guthrie Community Credit Union. They've been with me for years. My shop's actually out back of the bank. So they've been with me for years and they're a huge support. Dixie Lanes helps me out a lot. Tom's Hardware and Feed, my employment. Uh, Joe Snell, Metal Fab, my detailing business, of course. Eli Racing Engines, he builds my engines. He's a great dude. Auto, Precision Fabrication Auto. Larry Kennison, one of the best guys you ever meet. They're the guys that have been with me pretty much a long time. Coach's Pizza, they give me pizza anytime people come down my shop and work on my car or whatever. They come bring a pizza for me. Great, Hoyt's great. CT Graphics, another one. Um, Wicked Tees, Chris and Jeffrey and all them. They're huge. They help me a ton. That's pretty much my side. And on a racer side too, we did a double this year. You sponsor a racer, you sponsor me as well. So on our shirts, we have all of them too. We got Garrity's Glass. They come on to help. Watkins Barber Shop, Valley Customs, D&M Bait Shop, AJ and Shelly, Petrobowski. They help my kid out. Danielle McClenny, Beth Waltman. Just some, everybody. There's a lot of people that have hands in the pot. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
without them, you wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, Greg, I got to tell you too that this might not have been my best interview because I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been up since 3:30 for work, and I've had a sick 2-year-old for about 2 days now, so I have not gotten a lot of sleep. So if I'm a little off today, that's why.
That's fine. I'm not much of a talker. I'm not much of a phone person. I can text like crazy, but I'm not much of a FaceTimer or whatever hell this thing's called, Zoom or whatever. But we got it done.
I'll tell you, nobody would ever believe that you're not much of a talker. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, yeah. On phones, I'm a
On
face to face
phone.
talker.
Uh, well,
Uh,
Greg, I appreciate you hopping on with me. Once again, I'd like to remind everybody to like and subscribe, rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And this Saturday night at the Woodhall Raceway, Armed Forces Night. What better way to spend a Saturday evening than at the racetrack, honoring the brave men and women who fought for the country? And you can get a dollar hot dog. Greg, I know you've got to be pretty pumped about a
oh,
dollar
oh,
hot dog.
I gotta find. Hey, speaking of hot dogs, I gotta find out what the record is. Terry
Oh,
Pierce was lying. I gotta find out what the record is because I'm rooting for that. I'm not eating fraud to beat that record.
you might want to be careful though. You got to get in a race car.
Well, that's all right.
Hey, Greg, thank you
That's all
very
right.
much. I appreciate you
But I
joining
am
me tonight.
hot dog.
Have a
Yes,
good
sir.
night.
Thank you. See you Saturday. You too, pal.